I'll start with some questions. Do you drive a car? Has your petrol or diesel bill been bothering you? Were you hoping for a price cut soon? If the answer to all these questions is a yes, I have two things to say to you. One, you're not alone in this suffering. And two, you will not get relief anytime soon. Your fuel bill will only go up in the days ahead because we are in the middle of an oil war. Look at the case of India. By October, oil prices in India were near a 3-year high. For around 20 days now, they have been stable, but there is no major price cut in the offing. And I know what you're thinking. The reason for sky-high oil prices are taxes in India, and you're right, but that is not the only reason. An oil cartel is keeping your fuel bill high, and this is not some gang that operates in India. I'm talking about some of the world's biggest oil producers, countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and Iraq. These are 23 countries in all. They make up the OPEC plus. And this cartel, oil cartel, wants to dictate global oil prices. They want to keep them high. Who is going to challenge them? An alliance is taking shape. 6 countries have joined hands. India is one of them. The others are the United States, Japan, China, Britain, and South Korea. These 6 countries have come together to fight the oil cartel. This is the global oil war. How will these countries break the monopoly of the oil cartel? How do they plan to win this battle? On Gravitas tonight, that's what we'll discuss. We begin with the problem. Let me explain it first. It is the global price of crude oil. It's quite high at the moment, and that's a problem. At the beginning of 2020, 1 barrel of crude oil was priced at $69. 1 barrel has about 159 liters of crude. So for 159 liters, countries were paying $69 at the beginning of 2020. Then came the pandemic. Crude prices hit rock bottom. On the 28th of April 2020, the price of 1 barrel of oil fell to around $20. That's a drop of more than 70%. Then, more than a year later, oil prices jumped to a 3-year high. In October 2021, they touched almost $86 a barrel. Today, crude was selling at around $82 a barrel. That is 4 times more than April last year, when the pandemic struck. And even when compared to the pre-pandemic rates, the current price of oil is 18 to 20% higher. So you could say that crude is selling at a premium today. You are buying oil at premium rates. Who is keeping these prices so high? It is, like I said, the oil cartel, the OPEC plus. OPEC stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. They have 13 members. OPEC is the oldest alliance of oil exporters in the world. What makes the OPEC plus? It is the addition of 10 more countries: Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Brunei, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mexico, Oman, Russia, South Sudan, and the Sudan. 10 more countries. So 23 in all, and they supply almost half of the world's oil. They have about 90% of the world's proven oil reserves. And this is the oil cartel we're talking about. This is the cartel that dictates global crude prices. How do they do that? By controlling the supply. Listen to this carefully. When this oil cartel wants the prices to go up, they cut back the crude supply. They create a shortage, so the prices go up. When this cartel wants the prices to fall, they simply turn on the crude taps. They increase the supply to the market. There is excess crude, so the prices fall. It is simple market economics. Right now, the oil cartel wants the prices to remain high because they make more money when prices are high. Take the case of Saudi Arabia. It is the de facto leader of the OPEC. Petroleum accounts for 45% of Saudi Arabia's GDP. 90% of the kingdom's export earnings come from petroleum. The higher the prices, the more their earnings. Algeria, Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, South Sudan, and Venezuela are some of the other oil-addicted economies. Oil accounts for more than 90% of their total exports. They run on petrodollars. All of these countries want more oil revenues. It is in their interest to keep the prices up. So how can world leaders bring oil prices down? The solution, they say, is quite simple. Break the monopoly of the oil cartel. Pump more crude into the market. increase supply. And that's exactly what they're trying to do, what India and 5 other countries are doing as we speak. They're releasing more crude into the market. Where are they getting this oil? From their strategic reserves. What is that? Every country maintains a stockpile of crude. They just buy some oil and store it. This is called their strategic reserve. In the event of an emergency or a shortage, countries tap into this reserve. Every major economy has such reserves. That's because any shortage can trigger disruption. Imagine if all the petrol pumps go dry one day. A mass shortage like this can trigger civil unrest anywhere in the world. And to avoid a situation like this, countries maintain strategic reserves, also for war-like situations. And right now, they're tapping into these strategic reserves because this is an oil emergency. High prices of fuel are not just hurting Indians, they're becoming a problem in the developed world too. So 6 countries are supplying crude to cool the prices. The United States is going to release 50 million barrels of oil. India, 5 million. The United Kingdom, 1.5 million. Japan, 4.2 million. South Korea and China are also going to release oil. They're expected to share the specifics soon. Next question. Who will get all of this oil that they release? Each country is coming up with its own plan. The United States, for instance, it is going to sell it to major oil companies and international bidders. What about India? India plans to share the barrels with state-run refiners. Together, these countries are expected to release anywhere between 65 to 70 million barrels of oil. And this is expected to be in a coordinated fashion, a coordinated release. US President Joe Biden has called it the largest ever release of strategic reserves.
India, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and the United Kingdom have agreed to release additional oil from their reserves, and China may do more as well. This coordinated action will help us deal with the lack of supply, which in turn helps ease prices. The bottom line, today we're launching a major effort to moderate the price of oil, an effort that will span the globe in its reach and ultimately reach your corner gas station, God willing.
So the aim is to reach your nearest gas station, he says. Let's tell you how India is going to make that happen. India has 3 storages for emergency reserves. They're in Visakhapatnam, Mangalore and Padur. Together, they store around 40 million tons of crude oil, 40 million. And that is enough to meet almost 10 days of India's crude oil requirements. Out of this, India is going to release 5 million barrels of crude. That should roughly equal to 1 day's worth of supply. So essentially, India is giving its 1 day's worth of crude supply to stabilize oil prices. Why has New Delhi taken this decision? India believes high prices are undermining its recovery from the pandemic. They're leading to inflation. So high fuel prices are hurting everyone. They must be brought down. Now, emergency supplies will begin hitting the markets in the next couple of months. How is the oil cartel reacting to this? Well, it feels threatened. It is planning a response. OPEC members like Saudi Arabia and Russia are mulling a cut in supplies, a further cut in supplies. They want to cancel their plans to boost production. Such a move will lead to a further cut in global supplies. It will create an artificial shortage. Basically, it will neutralize the efforts made by India and its partners. They pump more oil, the OPEC cuts the supply. And this is the oil war that we must all brace for, because strategic reserves are not endless. If the oil cartel decides to fight it out, it will mean bad news for the whole world. Having said that, the decision to release strategic reserves is indeed a bold one. The world's leading economic powers are openly challenging the oil cartel. Will they be able to break the monopoly and bring prices down? Guess we'll have to wait and see. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.